Okay, in this video, I'm going to review a website for somebody who is in one of my Facebook groups who's looking for a little bit of information about how they can improve their website. So this is a blog basically for someone who is really into the Southern California music scene. His name is Johnny, you can see down here. And I have a couple of thoughts about this just at first glance, Johnny. First and foremost, you need to put a more engaging picture up here. This looks like a stock photo, and California is a beautiful place, so I'm sure you can find some, just a little bit more interesting photos, or at least one photo to put up there. I would also recommend that you improve your branding a little bit, and by that I mean perhaps getting a logo designed. You could go somewhere like Fiverr. It's FIVERR.com. If you don't have a very big budget, you should be able to find someone who could get a logo done for you within a few days there. So generally, you'll see a logo up here in the upper left-hand corner. That's usually where most users know to look for it. And you want to also put a tagline of some sort there that just kind of catches people's interest and lets them know what your site is all about. So you could probably work SoCal into the logo somehow. And then beyond that, just kind of cleaning up this header area a little bit to make it a little bit more engaging. You probably want to rethink the labels you're using here in the main menu. About and blog and contact are fine. They're fairly straightforward. You might want to use about us because it's more consistent with the way that most people, think about that. And also contact us. It's more of an action-oriented phrase. But these two, I think you need to work on a little bit. The podcast and the calendar just sound a little bit awkward, and you really want to make sure that all of the labels you're using in the nav here are kind of consistent with each other in terms of the way that you're phrasing things. So I would take out the word "the" for podcast and calendar. It also would help you as far as SEO goes, because nobody would be searching for the podcast or the calendar. You could even potentially change this to something like, music calendar or live music calendar or something like that, and that could help you with SEO. So the other thing that you really need to work on here as far as the homepage goes is this content down here. So this about tag definitely needs to be replaced. This is really where you should show your H1 header, and every page should have an H1 header or an H1 tag. And Google cares a lot about that. Google places a lot of emphasis on what's in your H1 tags. So again, you want this to be descriptive and using words that your users might be searching for. So you want to have something about live music in there, preferably something about Southern California. Beyond that, I would definitely hire a copywriter, or maybe just take some time yourself to rewrite the content here. You want to keep your most important keywords, more towards the top, and don't worry too much about placement of keywords. Just make it natural. I mean, it used to be that people would try to stuff as many keywords as possible towards the top of the page. You definitely don't need to worry excessively about that. You don't want to necessarily make it sound unnatural or like you're trying to, more or less trick Google. You just want to write it to your audience and make sure that they understand first and foremost what this site is all about and what it can do for them. So at the end of the day, whether we're talking about the homepage content or other content, you want to make it more about what's beneficial and useful for your readers, based upon what they need. We did notice a few typos and grammatical issues in here as well. The word "someone" is spelled incorrectly, and there's a word missing here. It should say "there's no shortage." So have a copywriter look at this. Beyond that, there were a few kind of empty areas here. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a heading for this box. If it is, it's really not necessary. You can just take this out. If there was supposed to be something else shown here under emailed updates, is missing. The podcast is good. The Instagram feed is good. This page, I know you're doing a redesign soon, so kind of try to keep in mind that you want your engaging content towards the top of the page, meaning above the fold, and that's just kind of an industry term. It used to be when people read newspapers that, they might fold the newspaper in half, and we might say that what they could see without unfolding the newspaper was what appeared above the fold. And in websites, it's the same thing. I can see up to about here before starting to scroll down. So you really want your most important content up here above the fold. So try to make this whole area as engaging as possible. I wouldn't be opposed to you trying a new theme here, because I think that this one is a little bit bare, a little bit basic. So if you know how to swap out WordPress themes, you could certainly try to do that, and you might not have to do a whole lot else to it. There's plenty of themes out there that are actually geared towards things like people in the music industry, or sometimes some of the themes for magazines or news sites might lend themselves well to this type of blog, given the fact that you'll probably have fairly frequent content once you kind of get it up and running. The other thing that we did note is that you don't have a lot of content here right now. So under blog, for example, you want to make sure that you're posting more frequently. I would shoot for, the closer you can get to at least 3 blog posts per week, the better, the more successful you'll be. If that's not something that you are, able to do right now, and you can't really afford to hire someone else to help you do that, just try to bridge that gap a little, because right now you're really only running about once a month, and that's just not really going to get you any results. So I guess the only other last thing that I would add would be, just kind of as an overall note, it's not immediately clear to me what your goal is for this site. If this is a hobby site and you're really just doing it because you love the topic and you want to share your, passion for it, it's probably okay with the changes that I just mentioned. If, however, you have a business goal, or, you have some other goal in mind, and you're trying to actually, build a platform for yourself, or if you're trying to build a big mailing list or anything along those lines, you need to make sure that you have a way for people to do that very prominently whenever they're on any page of your site. So it should, again, be above the fold somewhere here. It could be a button, it could be some other kind of call to action, like an image that they can click on. There's lots of ways to get people into your mailing list. You could offer them some kind of downloadable item. You could, there's just lots of different things you can do. So you want to have some kind of call to action appearing above the fold on the homepage and on your other pages, and just really make it easy for users to take the next step and kind of move through your funnel. So that's it. If you have any other questions about this, feel free to reach out to us, and good luck with your site.